So, a session down here in Hampshire, big fish carp lake over there, right by the M3 motorway. You're going to get droning noises here, you can't help it, just the way it is. Can't imagine how the carp guys stay up. Well, they do stay up all night. Obviously they must listen to the traffic all night. I'm assuming it does go quiet, but yeah, perhaps a very noisy night, a sleepless night. They do get good carp, and this is just an ordinary lake, just, I'm going to call this a day ticket lake. I've fished it before, but listen, I set up down there where I caught before about, what, 2 years ago? Floating crust, absolutely mulligan. Now, absolutely nothing. I have not seen one solitary single carp move. I look in the back canal bit that I have had a fish in there. They treated it with a weed chemical thing, and it's, I don't know, turquoise blue or something like that. No fish moving, nothing taking bread, no dimpling, no nothing. The only concern I have, there is not one other angler on the entire lake. I always wonder why. Maybe they know something I don't and should know. Anyhow, here's the story. I started down there. Gentleman came round. He had this hook thing. He was clearing line and bits of wood out and stuff. And I was talking to him. He actually does the stocking in here. So he said, I need to come at the other end of the lake. Now, you wouldn't think this is a small lake. Commercial, it's commercial. It's not, well, 100 yards long, I suppose, 120. He said, come up here and you'll see them around the rushes of carp. So I came up and I did to see the carp. They just weren't taking though. I don't understand it. Now, sort of this time of year, you'd expect to get them on the surface. That's why I come for floater fishing. That's why I come. Let's just shorten that bread up. All I've got is sweet corn to try on the bottom for a roach, or bread flake on the bottom for whatever carp, or floating crust on the top for carp. There's nothing but nothing. There's some birds around. It's not inundated with birds, I have to say. Black-headed gull there, he's coming in, he's having a feast on my bread that I've catapulted out. But he said, come up here. So I've not seen a bubble or movement or anything. So it looks like I'm on a blank. Is that why nobody else is here? I do not know. Very ominously quiet. But Kev said the fish are definitely in here, and he pointed me up one of these rush beds. Now, as soon as I got here, I looked around, they were there, they melted into the depths. They just disappeared. I have not seen them since. But there is no disputing that the carp are in it. I have seen them. Bear testament to it. It doesn't help me catch them though. So I put bread, sweet corn in, a little bit of that. It's on the bottom in about 4 foot 6 of water. Floats on the left, ledges on the, well, it's not even a ledger, it's just barely free line with a #1 shot on it. So far, nothing. It feels very, very much like a dry run. I'd like to have seen some bumps on that float. I've got a biggish hook. I've gone to a larger hook, maybe, I don't know what that would be, a 12, might be a 10 or something like that. 2 grains of sweet corn, because I figure that way I can get a small fish, a big roach, or indeed a carp. It hasn't even moved, twitched, dithered. So where all the small fish are, I do not know. I do not know whether to put a bit more bait in or to whether just let them roam around. But they just don't seem to be moving much. Do you know, I've had the last few fishing sessions, talking to myself, there's nobody else there, the last few course fishing sessions, I know the beaches are weird, I know they're weird, here in the UK have been right peculiar. You hear one big phenomenal catch and then like lots of anglers struggling, lots. Not just me, I'm not bitching because I'm struggling, and I am. Need 1 fish to save the dreaded blank, and 2 fish to make it worthwhile driving all this way. So all I've got is a #1 shot just here. I've gone for £5 all the way through. I've taken off my waggler float, small hook, £2 line. Gone for a pinched piece of flake. Just going to sink it once. I've got all my gear back here where that Kev said go, and I'm just literally letting that #1 shot tow the bread down to the bottom. It looks about 4'6" deep there, so it's deeper than it was where I was up there on the other side. Check the drag. I've had a look around, seen the odd fish move. Nothing spectacular. I think I can afford to drop this down a bit. There. Let's try that. Going to put just a little small bob in there. Just enough to give a bite indication. And just feel the weight of the bread. And I'll make sure, I'll put that on back wind. And await events. Looks like it could be the blank, I don't know. Catapulted floating crust out, look, it's just going nothing, absolutely nothing. That's 4 hours I've been here. No, 11, 12, 1, 2, yeah, no, 3 hours. Well, a rip-roaring fight, guys. Not. Tiny, tiny bite that I just struck at. It's the only bite of the entire day. And it is indeed a bream. Don't even think I want to get him in the landing net. I think I'll just ease him in. There he is. There we go, nice bream. Thank goodness for that. That's a real blank saver. Not a bad sized bream, you know, that one. Is he really? Goodness me, good job I moved. So Kev said the bream are in here. One fish, but I cannot catch a carp. Let's get him back. Yucky, yucky. That's weird. I've moved from down there up here. No bubbles, no nothing. But tiny, tiny bite. I'll settle for that. Buzzer in the water, which is now stuffed. I'm on again, guys. Definitely a bream. Halfway through my steak slice, there's proof, as you know, always picking up the flask generally gets you a fish. I'm going to venture the suggestion this is a bream. It must be a little bit bigger. Must be a little bit bigger. It appears to be almost fighting. Not the world's greatest scrappers bream. What is that, a tench? What is that, black back on it? I'm guessing it's a bream. Don't really want to get Mike's net slimed up, but see if we can get him. I should be grateful for this. It's quite, yeah, no, it's not a bad bream piece, people. There he's in. I'm trying to keep the net shallow, if that makes sense. Let's get him on the map. Oh, hook's there. Hook's fallen. Hook. How did he come in? Hook's in the net. There we go. Sort of as good as it gets. I suppose that's the average size in here. I don't know. He said he's had them to 9 out the big lake. I think this is just what I call matchman's fodder, but did have one bite on this, so I'm just going to bring it in very slowly, because generally, is the bread still on? No, the bread's still on, look. But I wouldn't venture casting that again. It will be soft in the water, but I did have one bite on it, so I'll pull that off. I'll put a fresh piece on. I sort of slipped up because I never come early. I'm not here at 7 o'clock or anything like that. The problem is, they told me, oh, we shut the gate at 6. Oh, great. So I paid for a day ticket, I haven't really got a day. Especially this time of year, we want to hang on for the evening. Late afternoon. Jesus, what? That took me on the drop. That bream took me. Hang on. I just missed one on the float as well. That is ridiculous. And I've got a tangle. Brilliant, happy days. I set up with a bit that took me on the drop, guys. All live. Only happens on the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. God, I hate these carp nets. It's like a bloody trawl net. Should be happy, Graeme, you were on a blank not more than an hour ago. And we're in. Oh, he's lost in there. It'll take me a week to find him. Stupid, stupid net. What do they expect, a 5-foot carp? Those little white dots on it are called spawning tubercles. And they're for spawning fish, an indication of getting ready to spawn. They're very, very rough. Well, free bream. Moving on. Smaller pinch of bread that was, people. Well, Kev said come up here for the carp, and the strange thing is, which I find bizarre, the float rod which I've set up for bream and railway sleepers. Oh no, 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 look at this, look at this. Jesus wept. Oh man, got it. The float rod I've set up for bream, I'm not catching anything on, and the rod I set up for carp, free lining on the bottom, has had 3 bream. So what's that all about? It's a funny old game, this fishing. Just when you think you've got it sorted, it all breaks it up and breaks up and throws it back in your face. I think I had a bite on this as well. I've lost my number 1 shot. So I just put a fold in the bread. I go once, twice, but I just pinch it around the eye of the hook. Now I've got to put that shot on. Right. So what I do with bread, I would normally overcast a long way and pull it back. This way, I overcast a little bit and I just tease it in to sink the line. Because I don't want to wind fast and the bread comes off the hook and you're sitting there like a complete ninny with nothing on there but the hook. So I should be set on the float, he hopes. Let's get the carp outfit, brackets, bream rod out. I was just getting this ready. I think that float dipped on the bread. I mean, I've thrown out 10 seconds. Smith, watch that float. Mabel, pass me the bread. Oh, she already has. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you. Appreciate that, love. Oh, I have the bream moved in on my bread and corn mix. I might be verging on the keen in a minute. Same with this. I don't want to overcast. Just want to drop it, wet it once. Just drop it, let it sink down like that. Now I'm holding the line this time because the last time it took off in my hand, as you guys hopefully saw. Quietly in my rod rest. Finally, slow sinking flake. I put the shot right on the hook like that and folded the flake around it so it took it down faster. And that's a sort of old school coloured carp there. Look at that one. Traditional, I think that's a traditional coloured dark carp. Well pleased with that, boys. Fish about 7s, 8s, but it's the colour of it that makes it worthwhile. So, and it's dark. I like those dark, I call them dark traditional English coloured fish. So that's a nice chunk to catch on an Avon rod, I know. Slow sinking flake. I just saw this bit of colour go through the water. I thought, is that a carp or not? And then as the bread went down, watched the line hit the bottom of the lake bed. He must have followed it down. Hold stead, buddy. Must have followed it right down like that. I saw the line tweak and just struck. Well, all turns around, but it was thanks to Kev for telling me where to go. Fish were indeed here. Very, very, very tough fishing. I guess that's why there's nobody here. Let's get this guy recovered. And away he'll go. There he goes. Under his own steam. Sweet! No more bream, and that makes up for it. Oh yeah, a booty as bonus. What a complete idiot. This is my hand wipe rag, because I forgot my hand wipe rag for the 114th time. Ah dear, bream slime, carp slime. It's all over my trousers. Whatever. Whew. Do you know what? It's a really tough session. Flogging away at it. I wonder if that's why the other people aren't here. It is tough. I'm finding it tough, tough, tough. Still, better than a blank 3 bream and a nice looking carp. So previously I've had the lead here, right? This weight, I've had that shot up here. Occasionally you want to get really down fast, and basically he takes the whole shot as well as the hook. But you've got to fold the bread around the hook as well. A bit of fluff off. So this is, look, it's just how I do it. Get a flat piece, I put the hook through so the point's out there, then I fold it around everything. So they don't know that piece of weight's under there, but you're more in contact with it. When it sits on the bottom, or indeed on the drop, you see the line tweak better. That's what I find. Not that I'm some expert on it, I just happen to get one carp, suddenly I'm an expert. Well, I've got to say, it's just not happening, people. I am stuck on 3 bream and a carp. Just that little session, and it's just died to death. It's been, what, 2 hours now, and absolutely nothing. Nothing moving. Got rid of all my bread on the surface, and I have to say, I can't even moan and say the ducks took it and the coots took it. You know, they took some, but it was out there long enough for any carp to come up on top. And the ones I've seen have just been lying static. Now, the last few sessions, it's been bizarre, really weird fishing. Stuff has sort of shut down quite quickly, and I've talked to other anglers and they don't know why. They don't know why it's gone that way. So who knows what's cooking underneath the water. Soon be cooking up on the water, going to pack up, give it a go. So it just goes to show you don't know what I mean, 60 years up the road fishing, I probably still don't know what's going on, and that's the way it should be. Keeps you fresh. I think I'm going to call it now, people. It's a beautiful evening. As you can see, a lovely evening. Unfortunately, a motionless bobbin, a motionless float, nothing's happening. In fact, I think the tide's coming in there. I'm not sure whether, I feel sure it's back there and it's coming in now, so I better move before I get cut off and called in the Coast Guard. So a beautiful, fabulous day. The wind is ripping from the east now. I've got a feeling it must be the east winds doing it, but I don't know why those carp are just laying still and nothing is moving. There's no roach, there's nothing, there's no activity. I don't think I've known a lake so dead for so long. Whether I shall return, I might give this one a couple of years before I come back. Anyway, thanks for watching it. I'm off to do some jobs tomorrow. Fingers crossed we'll see you guys in another fishing film. Well, listen, that was a hard bit of fishing there. In fact, I'm better off looking through something I was catching 50 or 60 years ago. Anyway, it was still a bit of fishing, and I still just came out on top. Now, obviously, I do have tough fishing, you can see that there. Wait for the next one. Ha! It's even tougher. Well, people, this is going to be an interesting one. For my 71st birthday present, Mike bought me a club membership of a small club. Now, you guys must know I am not a club member. I'm not. I just do day tickets where regular guys go. It's a day ticket place I go to. But he's bought me this club ticket, and I think he's got a ticket himself as well, I'm not sure. With a view to maybe doing a bit of quiet fishing in a spot, you know, that's perhaps not too hammered. I talked to the guy in my local tackle shop. He said, you know, it's just fishing. It's not great. They get the barbel in here, and obviously it's all possibly secret squirrel stuff with the barbel. I don't have a problem with barbel. I caught plenty of them. But it's somewhere to come, basically. A bit of English countryside. Mike says very nice place, and I can see, look, by some of the trees, really nice big trees. It's on part of a big estate. You know, it's not, anybody can join it as far as I can see. So I am today taking the trouble to walk around. I've got a rod and a bit of bait with me. got to find where the river is. I've just found what they call a pond, so apparently that's got some fish in it. I don't know, I couldn't find out what's in here. I think in the river's chub, dace, roach, usual sort of stuff. So sort of join me while I go exploring. Just tell them where I am. I don't know, I'm close to an airport, so I can hear a plane coming. Yeah, that's a small light aircraft. Very small light aircraft. So I'm going to have a wander around. I saw in the car park there is actually another guy with his membership thing in the windscreen. Mike's, I think he sent them mailed them and stuff and said, you know, well, what about the permit? No one's got back, but we've got the label that goes in the car, so I've got my number and everything like that, so give it a go. Let's go and see what we can find. See if we can find the river first. I sort of already feel like I'm lost. But Grant from the tackle shop said go down the bottom end, so I'm assuming the river's going this way. I haven't even found a river yet. There's a place called the Long Walk or something, so I'm on the Long Walk first and see what's down here. I can see water, but it could just be flooded fields. I don't know, I can't see anything. Lovely lot of trees. The problem we got is by the time you get this film, it won't make much difference, I don't suppose, but Mike got it in November, the ticket, so it's going to run out in March, I guess. You can fish a Stillwater Lake till June, so we've only got a few months. It's only good we renew it next year, but already I'm liking it. Look at this bracket fungus. What type of fungus is that one? That is humongous. Is that just a regular bracket fungus? And this has got to be, is it a giant conker tree? And this is some sort of disease it's got. Some's fallen off down there, look. You see it? Any of you fungus experts out there? Tell us what that one is. Onwards, and sort of riverwards, I hope. There's a footpath through there. I can see a bit of a wear mark, so I'm going to follow that one down. If I pan through here, you can see there's a huge vista. Absolutely wide open estate type space as far as you can see. Goodness me, that must be 3/4 of a mile of just open pasture land there. I'm guessing part of the estate. I've already seen loads of pheasants up here, so I'm guessing it's a shooting spot as well in the season. Look, pheasants. Maybe they put the runners down here, and maybe they're just left over some previous year, don't know. You see, this was probably an avenue walkway down there for the well-heeled of yesteryear to walk down, I would imagine. Not me with paint on my shoes, because I've just finished a painting job. Been following the map, and it says a footbridge, and I see some railings across there, so I'm guessing that's a footbridge you can cross over. So where I thought the river was back there is actually a bit of sort of swampy stuff. As you can see, there's obviously game here. Lots and lots of pheasants there were there. Right, so walk over this bridge. And here's the footbridge. I think I know where I am. I think I know where I am. Maybe this is the start of the lake, start of the river. I don't know. I'm going over here just to look at the signs. It's not a bad thing to see these, because at the end of the day, that's where the small fry can come up. Exploring, I do like a bit of exploring, as long as I can actually find some water. And Mike hadn't just bought a club ticket to nowhere. No, it's in here. As you can tell by the time of year, it's November. More pheasants, look. Way in the distance. My goodness, there must be a lot of shooting. There's the river. This is some sort of backwater. They've got pike in here as well, he said. I'm only travelling light, you can see. So I've just basically got a mile and a half or something, or a mile of discovery. I don't know where that's fishable, so I don't know. Wow, that was a weird one, weird bird. It's flowing that way. There's so many pheasants here. I'm going to say nobody's been up here fishing this morning anyway, even though, look at them everywhere. Should have bought Mike's 12 gauge. That's the river.
Use that with George, Mike, that would be a bang. And it's not as sort of flooded as I thought it would be. Whether it's coloured, I don't know. Yeah, it's got a bit of colour in it. Once I get in the open, it's going to be windy anyway. Loads and loads of snaggy stuff there, so I imagine chub, dace, pike, usual sort of stuff. But as I say, they say, you know, we're not dealing with huge monster fish. I get some good barbel in there. I've got the river away from a barbel, but it might be somewhere to pop. The other thing is, this has been up here and slid back down. We had a lot of rain previously. I don't see any boot marks there. If I walk down here, watch, I'd see the boot marks. So I'm going to say nobody's been down there since the levels dropped. Presumably it's been up over here, filled up in there. Now it's dropped back. That would be a classic little pike twitching spot. All I've got is about 6 baits. That's all I've got. Just have a look. All this backwater stuff they've got there where it floods over, I guess. Creature, squirrel. This one assumes is the end of the fishery. Yes, this is the end of the fishery. I'm just going to look. It looks like there's bricks under there where probably in the summer people can cross over. So I'm assuming this is the end. Let's have a look here before I fall in the mud. Don't go in. Well, it is what it is, guys. Looks barbely down there, that sort of swim. Wow, you've got some snags about there, but maybe I'll twitch a bait through there. I think I'd better go exploring a bit more. Bit of pace on it. There might be 1 or 2 other bends. Now, back to the map. I now know where the long walk is. Now I need the short walk. So I'm going to have a throw in here, just using a little rubber lure, because where the trees are here, I would imagine there's going to be sunken ones there and a good chance of losing some of that. So I'm going to just lose a cheaper lure if I'm going to lose anything. Don't really know how deep it is there. And there could be a perch or something in there, who knows. Having come off the flood, it's probably better for barbel or chub or float fishing, but I can't be bothered. This is just an exploratory, just to see what's about there. You never know, do you? You never know what's about. Not the world's greatest lure, I find anyway. It's just one that I can flick around, trying to gauge the depth. Doesn't feel that deep. Right guys, let's have another walk down or upstream. Can't say there's not nice features here like that. I'm calling that an ash, like in Mike's woodland. This looks like an ash has gone down across the river. They left it, so it's a good feature. I've had a good cast around here. Looks very perchy. I'm just noticing these black marks on the tree here. Look. So that's some form of disease. Again, we're looking for naturalists. Not naturists, don't want any of them. Naturalists or botanists, tell us what are all these black dots all over the trees. Look at that one. Absolutely stacks of them. Is that the very rare but well known to me conker canker? Who knows what it is? I think the footpath goes that way out into the field, and I think I've just got to try and keep the river on my right according to the map. Well, it's opened out now. all part of the estate. It's very windy here. Got the electric fence down, so they obviously have livestock in there. There is a nice little swim in here. And, you know, there's a lot of scope here. I wonder if it's more, you know, bait fishing. So let's have a few throws in here. Without treading on the white rod. When we used to fish the Thames, holy schmoly. Bang. When we used to fish the Thames a lot, we'd look for it, drop in like this, but go into what we call a green. It goes a sort of, it's not gin clear, it's the River Thames for goodness sake. But it would go like a sort of, I guess it's like a, I guess it would be like a sort of just slightly greenish clear, and that was good for pike. It's a bit brown for pike, so I'm not going to hold a lot of interest in it, because I've got work to do back at home, but I've sort of foregone that trying to do this voyage of discovery. It's absolutely overgrown through there, so God knows what could be in there. Chub, anything. It's got to be worth a bait fishing session. Have a couple of throws in here. Could be totally wrong, but I think it's way too coloured for any lure action. You never know. Good chance he's going to get lost. That was weed. Down the right there looks perchy, but maybe it's worms, you know. It's looking at what I call a worm water. I've fished this river a couple of times, well, half a dozen times, years and years ago. Never did a lot of good in it, must admit. I did on Barbel, way further upstream, when I was in a club, many years ago. But it was always pretty well down to last knockings when you got a take. And yet when I go up on the River Wye, I just can't seem to catch a fish in late afternoon, evening, you know, about 5 in the evening. This is, you know, August time. Oh, I can see that lure down there, just popping and hopping, look. If there was a fish, you can see it. The reason I've used it is because it's got that rubber tail to it, so, and it's jointed, so a fair chance a perch could grab that, big perch. There's nothing like a voyage of discovery, but there's also nothing like getting that first bang, or seeing that float sink for the first time on new water, or seeing your quiver tip get pulled round on somewhere new. Obviously, more times you come, you're not going to know where the barb line, no one's telling you that, but you know, sooner or later you'll be able to glean some information, or from your own experience find something. Let's move. Not for the sack barrow thing. Loads of swims. I have to say, look, it's another, everyone's a perch swim to me now. That's shallower. So it's worth noting the weed, just like barbel fishing. I go across the back of there, just on the, yeah, I can have a look. Also look for rod rest holes, but they might have been washed away with the last flood. I'd want to be putting the bait over there. Definitely. Bit snaggy getting a fish in here though. But snaggy waters often are where the fish are. And that's a sort of a no-go section there with this. I'm guessing all the leaves are off it, so it's a willow. It's probably falling in the water and it's regrowth, and that will eventually dam up and alter the flow and angle of the river. Maybe cut it back this way more. All interesting stuff. The rivers get harder and harder and harder each year. I imagine if I walk far enough I'll stumble across this other guy that's fishing. There's a nice float fishing area. Set up here, run a float there. See how it's gone over the riverbank? It's in that field over there with the flooding. Now I think I'm going to keep moving. I can't cast in every swim, can I? Or can I? Obviously a big estate at one time or other. There could have been somebody walking down here today. There's a bird hide, or maybe a secret camera thing. Who knows? 1643, might be an owl one, numbered by the RSPB. That's a better slack. If I have worms, I will be using float fishing lobworms or partial lobworms in there, or even lobbing over the back. I can see me wanting to come back with I think ledgering, It's short, a bit short for float fishing. Ah, heel marks there. Hopefully not an otter slide. Just bump bottom then. That's where the perch should be, down in the right or just down there. I was just giving it about 6 casts in each swim. As I come down, I got closer to where the car buck is, and it's always a way generally that you find a lot of anglers don't want to walk very far. They go in the tackle shop. Grant says that very often. They don't want to go that far. Here we go. There's some boot marks there, and obviously it's a nice classic type of swim there. Opposite whatever they are over there, solar panels, monster solar panels. So I'm going to have at least 6 throws here. Because, you know, I've seen the boot marks there, and there. I would say that's a rod rest mark. It's all a question of being a tracker, expert tracker. I got it from years ago. Quite like it actually. I'm going to have a fish there. So nice. That would take a float or a feeder. Let's give it a go. Well, I've sort of lost. I've had to ask a guy on a footpath which river this is, because I can't find a river. There's a confluence of 2 different rivers. Nice old bridge. Lovely spots, but I haven't had a bang, a bump, a follow, a swirl, nothing. But according to the map, main road's over there. This is a different river. There's a fishing hut down there, and I think that's muck. Maybe I'll have to have a walk. I mean, I've got to be honest, the idea of this trip was just have a walk and not fish, but I have to say it all looks pretty fishy. At the present time it's fishless, and I think I might have been fishing the wrong river all the time, or what I thought was one river is not. Not surprised. I can't believe I haven't found that other river. I've lost a river. Does anybody out there know where it is? I've lost a river entirely. I don't even see it. Where the heck can it be? Right, I think I'm back on track. I've got a heck of a walk to do. Got to go till I find this other river. As you can see, there's a warm path here. I hope it's not just a club with a one swim wonder. You know, it's like it's just a one spot, but it's well worn here. And there's a way in the distance there. There is a bit like Somerset. It's so flat, I can't believe it. It's a bit like when I go down the Somerset drains piking. Way in the distance there, apart from a load of water where it's flooded, is a white sign. I figure that's the end of the fishery, no fishing, whatever, we'll shoot you type of thing, you know. So I've got to go down there and find it, and there's a footpath, so I'll have to follow that down. Well, I think I finally found it. So this river, which I thought was the main river, appears to be the smaller river, and what I figured was the main river here is actually the smallest. It's totally the reverse of the size of rivers that I was expecting. But this is a confluence where the two join. You can see one comes in there, one comes in here. Would have been a cracking swim, except there's a tree in it. A long walk for that. I will have a walk upstream, just see what's up there, because it's very windy now. I'll probably get caught in the rain, and I'm getting hungry. I have sandwiches in the car, and it's miles away. I'll just go and have a go, because the thing is, this river on the right is known to have been polluted several times, and I'm figuring this one probably has as well. But if I keep away from that one, where I've not had a bang, the other one being, one assumes, in a less polluted river, maybe a bit cleaner, I've no idea. Maybe that one I might get a bite on and salvage something. But at least I've found and discovered some of the fishery, and as I say, I can come back and hopefully work something out here. Well, it's late in the afternoon. I have had nothing. I'm really surprised. No perches, no bangs. Didn't really expect to catch anything, but you always come out in hope, don't you? But what I have found, I'm going to the bottom end of the fishery, is a bit more tracking. Boot marks, and what it looks like there. Can you see that looks like? Yes, a tackle barrow. Now, Grant at the tackle shop said, I think there's a weir down here. I think there is. And he said people like to go there because it's easy access. So I'm going to keep going, and that way I've seen the whole of the fishery, or nearly all of it, and I can ask somebody if that was the main river, which I've mistaken for the small river, albeit I'm still fishless. Good voyage of discovery though, it's all about learning. People, look at this raft of weed here. Look at that lot. That tells you it's coming off a flood there, and all that's been jammed up there, and fishing in front of that, anchoring a bait up here. There could well be chub under there, but it's pushing through too fast for me to put a lure in there. But what a sort of classic looking swim that is. Here comes a classic helicopter. Right, let's keep moving. Huge estate, so nice to see. I bet they get some nice deer in here in the evenings, and obviously nice trees. Got a pretty old church here. I wonder why, just looking at it there guys, is the flint on the outside. So they build it in flint, I guess stone on the cornices, and then they go to that. Obviously you've got the fancy ridge at the top, and I'm calling it the bell tower, with the vents out there, you see at the top just there, so the sound travels. I guess they open them right up when they ring the bells. But why do they do that crisscross with beams when they've already built the bulk of the church in stone with obviously solid construction, and then you would go to wood at the top? It's not like a Norman one, is it, or Saxon one? I don't know, because anybody who's into churches, no, why you got that crisscross stuff? It's like herringbone brick up there supporting it all. So I know it's strong, I know it's been there for God knows how many years, but I'm just curious. It's a sort of strange design to me, architectural design, bit peculiar. I don't know, somebody tell us. But a nice old church. I'd rather not be in here just yet though. Hopefully a few more years of fishing. I was just looking down there, you can see how much it's dropping, so this will probably fish quite well in about 4 or 5 days time, but with bait, not lures. But I'm hearing running water, obviously it's a river. Maybe this is where Grant said the weir is indeed there. Looks like faster. There's a worn swim there. There's a bridge here, and he said something about a pumping station. That must be the pumping station. No jumping. Well, I guess you'd have to be fairly stupid to want to jump into that, wouldn't you? What's called a raceway. No swimming, strong currents, keep out, shove off, whatever. So the only swim here is just there by the weir, and I'm going to check on the map. That might be the bottom of the fishery. I think the pathway moves away. So I'm down to the last knock and just getting dark. It's not particularly cold, but I've caught nothing, so I'm a bit despondent. But at least I've had a look at the fishery and get an idea, although it's in flood. I'm kind of amazed that I haven't watched me go in last swim. Yeah, I can see why people want to fish here. Look, you can see it. Chuck a feeder out there, might be barbel there, could be pike. Let's have a few throws to finish off. Probably nothing. This lure has been amazing. How it's not got lost is beyond me. It might be that the river being high is taking the lure, which is not particularly a fast sinker, over the top of any snags or weed beds. But there should be fish in here. This would be one I wouldn't mind fishing for a while, but maybe it's one of those fisheries where you need to, you know, 2 or 3 hours in a swim. If you don't have anything, move, because it's so small, isn't it? It's a miniature fishery. I bet it's nice in the springtime, all the leaves are out. I mean, it's coming in autumn. The leaves are not too bad in the water. I just come at the sort of wrong time. It's the only time I had. So listen, while I'm having a throw here, you guys have seen some of the swims. Put in the comments page, not necessarily lure fishing, but you can if you want. How do you think I would best approach this, being as we've only just got the membership and, you know, we've talked to nobody about it. So we have no idea really what size fish are, anything like that. Even in the lake. The lake, I think, would be in match fish, will be 18, 20 hooks, small. Maybe maggots, I'm guessing. Small worms. I should be giving that a go. through the winter. Look, there's nothing. You'd think I'd get a bump or a bang, wouldn't you? I can see the lure there. Okay, it's got a leaf on it that time, but down the edge of those rushes, what, no fish? I don't get it. Let us know in the comments page. Should I be feeder fishing this? Should I be using worm, a feeder with pellet, maggots on a float, trotting down, obviously an even flow? What should I be doing, guys? Put in the comments page and we'll bring you back here when it's dropped down a bit more, and I'll have a proper day fishing here, see if I can get a good throat, and B, I've had nothing to eat or drink all day, that's why. Can't stop fishing now, I've got a decent cast. See if you guys can't give us a few tips how you would approach it here. Quiver tip, you know, rod, what would you do? Anyway, thanks for watching this section. We'll be back again with something else interesting, hopefully. It's certainly not going to be a fish in this one.
Well, even though I didn't catch anything on the river, I'm still looking forward, you know, to a bit of decent weather. The river's going to go down, hopefully fine off, get that, what I call it, sort of greeny Thames type tinge to it, which is, you know, good for the pike. And then I'll either have a go for pike, or I'd probably go on the feeder and just see if I can get some bites. Lovely spot, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy a few sessions there. But what I want to talk to you about now is, a lot of you follow obviously wildlife, of course you do, you're fishermen out there, you are outside in the environment, you're going to notice things. Some are more astute in observation than others, and they've made comments about agreeing lack of birds. Now I want to know where these chappies are, that's on the bird feeder in a second. They're called Longtails. Yes, we get Smith, don't even go there. We get a lot of tits in England, or in Britain generally. It's, or was, full of tits. Smith, don't make me come over there, boy. I knew it'd be a tough one, this one. Stop sniggering. Anyway, you got blue tits, cold tits, and there's one called a longtail. The longtail is really, it's a sort of a nervous one. It's got a long thin tail. Now, the last year I have not seen any. Now, at certain times of year, early winter was one of the places, one of the times we get them up on our bird feeder, I have had them absolutely swarming on there. Have you guys noticed out there the bird orientated, ornithological types, whatever you want to call yourselves, you know, the outside people that run bird feeders, have you noticed a reduction? I know some of you guys have, but this is a particular species. I quite like watching them, do you know what I mean? They're delicate, they even get pushed off by the other birds, they're quite nervous, and they only come, not so much in individuals, little packs of them, it's like they're confident in a pack. Where are the longtails? Last year they tailed off, I like that one, they did sort of get a bit thin on the ground. This year I haven't seen any. Tell us what you think. Well, that's enough of the Smith, don't make me come over there, boy. That's enough of the longtails. Let us know what you think in the comments page. Thanks for watching this episode. There will be another one coming along shortly. I've got a load of work to do and I've been very busy for the last 2 weeks. I'm not even sure I've fished, to be honest. If I have, I've blanked. Yay! Happy days. All we want now is some frost, freezing cold, rain, hail, ice, frozen windscreens and a blank. I look forward to it. I love the English winter, I do. We'll see you next time, guys.